Today on The Explainer, we are diving deep into a truly radical and, let's be clear, highly speculative idea for tackling one of the toughest diseases out there.
So, think about this for a second. If you were faced with a disease like glioblastoma, a brain cancer that's notoriously aggressive and difficult to treat, where would you even start? The source material we're digging into today offers an answer, and it's one that really pushes the boundaries of what we normally think of as possible.
Yeah, you heard that right. That's a direct quote from the document. Quantum, cellular, and cosmic principles. It's a lot to take in. A pretty bold claim, right? So let's actually unpack what a strategy like this is even supposed to look like.
All right, so the foundation here is a whole new proposed strategy for glioblastoma. And it's really important to remember this is a conceptual blueprint. It's a mix of some very real science with some very futuristic, quantum-inspired ideas.
The big idea here isn't about finding one single magic bullet. Nope, it's more like a multi-front war. The plan, as laid out, is to attack the tumor directly, then activate the body's own defense systems, and finally, rebuild whatever was damaged in the fight. It's a truly holistic idea, from the tiniest nanoparticle all the way up to the entire neural network.
So first up, the direct assault. The plan suggests taking the fight straight to the cancer cells themselves. We're talking about a two-part attack at the most basic, fundamental level.
The first tactic is something the source calls cellular resonance. The best way to think about it is like an opera singer hitting a very specific note that shatters a crystal glass, but leaves everything else untouched. The idea is to find the unique vibrational signature of a cancer cell, and then, blast it with targeted frequencies to essentially shake it apart, triggering its own self-destruct sequence. And the crucial part, healthy cells with their totally different frequencies would just sit there, completely unharmed.
Okay, so you're going to see a formula on screen now, but don't panic. You really don't need to be a physicist to get the gist of this. It's basically the source's way of writing down the idea. It's about combining a specific frequency with the cell's internal energy state. The whole point is just to tip the scales and push that cancer cell towards self-destruction.
So, to sum up the direct attack, first, you use these harmonic frequencies to shake up and destabilize the cancer cells. Then, you hit them with a follow-up, a really highly targeted payload. So, let's look at how that payload actually gets delivered.
And this is where nanoparticles come into play. You can think of them as tiny programmable smart bombs. According to this framework, they'd be encoded with what the source calls a quantum resonance signature. It's basically a targeting system, like a microscopic GPS that tells them to bind only to the glioblastoma cells. This lets them sneak powerful drugs right to the tumor, getting past the brain's natural defenses and doing as little collateral damage as possible.
Okay, so that's the direct attack. Pretty wild stuff. But the strategy doesn't stop there, not by a long shot. The next phase is all about turning the body's most powerful weapon, its own immune system, against the tumor.
And what's so fascinating here is that some of our immune cells can be a bit two-faced. See, some of them can actually get hijacked by the cancer and tricked into helping it grow and hide. The goal of this framework is to essentially flip a switch on those cells, turn them from collaborators back into cancer fighters, basically turning traitors into loyal soldiers again.
Now, to keep the cancer from ever coming back, the source proposes something truly out there, an adaptive quantum vaccine. We know glioblastoma is a master of disguise. It mutates constantly. Well, this conceptual vaccine would, in theory, evolve right along with it. It's like having a permanent defense system that's always one step ahead of the enemy. On top of all that, the plan also targets the tumor's home turf. See, tumors create this really acidic, nasty environment to help them thrive. So the framework suggests neutralizing that acid, maybe with something as simple as sodium bicarbonate. And at the same time, it proposes using those same harmonic frequencies we talked about to repair blood vessels, cutting off the tumor's self-made supply lines.
Look, getting rid of the tumor is only half the battle, right? You've still got to repair the damage. So the final stage of this whole strategy is all about healing the brain and paving a path to a full recovery.
For the brain repair part, the plan calls for a 1-2 punch. First, using stem cells to rebuild those damaged neural pathways. Then, that would be followed up by something called harmonic resonance therapy. This would use theta waves, the brain waves we associate with deep healing and meditation, to help get all the neural activity back in sync and promote recovery.
So, we've covered a lot: cellular resonance, immune activation, cleaning up the environment, and neural repair. It's a lot of moving parts. Well, the source material actually tries to tie all of it together into a single master equation.
And here it is. The source calls it the Transcendental Cellular Formula. I know, it looks incredibly complex, but it's probably best to think of it less like a math problem you have to solve and more like a symbolic recipe. Each little piece represents one of the therapies we've just talked about, all combined to predict the total effect of the treatment.
So let's connect the dots here. You see this K-resonance part? That's those cell-shattering frequencies from the very beginning. This energy ratio here, that's all about stopping the cancer from making copies of itself. The theta variable, that's for the healing brainwaves. And this last entropy part is about a really key goal: protecting the healthy cells from all the chaos.
And believe it or not, it gets even more abstract. There's a part of the formula for the tumor's mutation rate. That's for the adaptive vaccine. There's another for disrupting the tumor's internal communications. And then there's this, lambda, which the source calls the cosmic alignment factor. It suggests the treatment could be synchronized with, well, cosmic cycles. This really shows you just how far out this framework is willing to go, blending hard science with some really philosophical, almost mystical ideas.
A big formula is one thing, but how would this whole thing actually play out for a real person? Well, the source does provide a proposed timeline for how it would be implemented. It would start in week 1 with advanced imaging and the first round of that nanoparticle therapy. Then, for the rest of the first month, the focus is on reprogramming the immune system and applying those harmonic frequencies. In months 2 and 3, things shift toward regeneration with stem cells. And from months 4 on out, it's all about continuous monitoring and updating that adaptive vaccine to make sure the cancer can't even think about coming back.
And the stated goal of this entire framework? It's completely unambiguous. The document says the outcome is complete eradication of the tumor and full neurological recovery for the patient. I mean, it's painting a picture of an incredibly ambitious future, setting a whole new benchmark for medicine.
And that really leaves us with the big question, doesn't it? Is this meant to be a literal scientific blueprint, or is it more of a philosophical one? Is it a testable plan, or just a thought experiment designed to push our imaginations to the absolute limit? Whatever the answer is, a framework like this challenges us to think differently about healing, all the way from the cellular to the cosmic. So what do you think?